Alright, yeah, what's up guys? Basically just doing another jungle tutorial video. This one's gonna be on basically the role of a jungler. Overall, I'm just gonna try to explain a little of what like the purpose of the jungler is so you understand what you're doing a little more. So it's gonna be a more broad thing, but yeah. Basically the goal of a jungler is to kind of impact as many lanes as you can positively while also like keeping farm, you know? That's the general goal. So you're kind of like trying to juggle your own farm and your team's farm and make sure you're like actually being impactful on the map because you're the roaming role. So yeah, I guess I can write that. So yeah, basically by this, uh, I mean that like okay, this it's part of the thing, I just mean that like a lot of times the things that you want to do personally are not going to be helping your team, uh, while the things that will help your team do not help you as much. So it's kind of a balance, a give and take situation, like so I just have the map here for like reference, but basically, say like all your jungles up, that's that's always going to be your priority as a jungler. Like okay, I would put on cooldown. This is a priority and part of the role of a jungler, for sure. I guess I'll just write them out as like this is like a general thing. Maybe I should have put the balance after, but yes. So keep camps on cooldown. Role is like gank slash influence lanes. I guess like counter jungle slash invade. Generally, I'd say these are the main like roles or goal of a jungler throughout the game. I'd say these are more early game focused overall. So it's basically you're trying to balance these three things overall, uh, and there's going to be give and take. That's just kind of the realities. So you can't always have everything perfectly. Like you won't always be able to do, okay, I'll do all my camps on solo side into a solo gank, into like invading their camps. That's like pretty like dream scenario if like all the timers line up for that. The guy is playing up for a gank and like their jungler isn't there. Like stuff like that is not going to happen very often. So a lot of times you have to be like, okay, I have a timing on a gank, but also my camps are up. So I need to choose between the timing that I think I have on a gank or doing my camps and getting them on cooldown faster for my own personal farm. That is like kind of overall the goal of the jungler. You're trying to juggle a bunch of stuff. What I want to go into at some point is counter jungle. Okay, basically some of these things are not always as obvious as they seem. Like counter jungling slash invading, it doesn't always have to actually be uh taking their camps, for example. Even though that's a good way to punish ganks. Like you want to be positioned to punish ganks by doing that. Even if you can't like say Do is getting ganked, it's really obvious. While their speed's coming up, because that happens this time, or their solo buffs are coming up, it's fine to go take their jungle and help yourself out. Um, and that's like a way of counter jungling, but also what leads to doing that a lot of the time is having like good wards or good presence of where their jungler is. I might go into a warding guide, and this is a little bit like that, but basically like if you are having wards that are deep in their jungle, like maybe one on their backs here and like having their speed in between tower, like any spot like this on their scorpion even to watch the cross of solo side, then a lot of times you'll see that their jungler is or isn't on this farm, and then you can react to what they're doing or not react because you don't need to. You know where they are, and that helps your lanes like make correct decisions. Helps you like go for counter ganks, go play on the opposite side type of thing. I guess this okay. I think I could go in depth a lot more about stuff, but generally this is overall your goal for early game. I'd say mid game, early mid is quite similar, I think, to this, but you're I would say you're less focused on farming. I don't think that's the goal. Uh, but I think when you're making opportunities for ganks, a lot of time by mid game you want to be a little more grouped with your team and wait. Also for wards you could have deep on this side too. It doesn't have to only be solo side. Sorry, but yeah, for mid game, I'd say the focus overall is changing a little bit. It depends on whether you're ahead or not, but if you're ahead, even if you're behind, it's not even that bad. But you want the purpose of your ganks to be a little higher purpose, especially if you're ahead. if you're behind, maybe just getting a kill is good enough. Like trading a kill for gold or something is decent. But um, if you're ahead, you want to be doing stuff for the purpose of doing objectives afterwards, more or less. So like you could go for a, say you've invaded Duocide a lot, you could easily just go for another invade, then go to gold type of thing. You know, you're just trying to advance what you're doing. And then late, it's just team fights, right? So you kind of have to identify what your character is good at doing. A lot of times, jungle role can be diving. If you're like a team fight, you have mid game team fights too, but like at this point in the game, you're trying to play the map less, and you're just trying to play with your team grouped up more. It doesn't mean maybe playing the maps wrong. Like you can maybe split push if you think you're behind or whatever. But most games it will be team fights. So yeah, generally your role can change depending on your character, but most of the time it's like diving or trying to neutralize the enemy carries from getting on your team or enemy jungler. So yeah, maybe your team's really fed and you're not as fed because you were helping people get ahead and maybe you're a little less behind, whatever the reasons. Your goal could be, oh, I'll just keep their jungler out of the fight, so my backline can like do whatever they want, have a lot more space in the fights. Also diving if you feel strong and a good matchups with the carries, you have a good diver with you, Curb support for that is pretty good too. I think maybe this generally covers the role of a jungler and what you should be trying to do. A lot of it is juggling games. Early game's the main thing for jungling, early slash mid, where you're still playing the map and you're trying to affect things. Okay, maybe in late game I should put this. A lot of time, it's not always on you, but I'm fading here. Wave management, I think, is a lot of times a jungler's role. It's also part of why I personally think that it's not a big deal for junglers to get behind, because a lot of times you're the one who are dealing with the waves, making sure waves are shoved in the correct spots so people can't like split push or walk under your wave. Like if I shoved this, say I'm on order side here, this blue side, and I shoved a wave, like this tower's non-existent, and this wave is up here, right? And there's a firefight over on the right side of the map where fire is. Um, if there's no wave to identify me, I can kind of walk in here and like get a flank potentially. And yeah, it's just a good way for pathing and stuff like that. So wave management just could be really important in a lot of sense. And a lot of times it'll be on the jungler because they want to be on the side flanking. That's not always going to be your role, but when it is, it's like a decent way to be there. So yeah, wave management is another late game thing, but yeah, that can contribute to maybe it's fine to get yourself behind to help your teammates a little bit. But also maybe your character's not that good at doing that. It's all a little dependent, but it's kind of up to you a little bit. Different junglers have different styles, you know? So it's kind of creating your own balance of these things a little. Yeah. I think generally that's fine for overall viewpoint as jungler. I'll try to go a little more in depth, and I'll probably do a wording guide and explain why these words are good and stuff like that too. But yeah, thanks for watching. Appreciate it.